Bang, and all points in between. The AC Mike Lopez Show has got you covered on News on 1492.3 WOND.
Hey, folks, welcome back to the program. So glad you're with us this Monday afternoon. Folks, Morano Mondays, Frankie Five Barrels. Frankie, first of all, sir, congratulations, man. Congratulations, Colette Celia Morano. And a healthy one as well. 8-pounder, my favorite number, by the way. Go right ahead, sir.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, I was sorry to miss last Monday's weekly date with you, but I had a date with a 20-inch, 8-pound baby who was born just a couple hours before your show. And thankfully, she's doing great. She's home. And Rachel, her mother, my wife, is also doing great. And we're just very, very happy to be a family of 4. Very excited. Everything's going well. And excited to have a daughter for the first time.
Love it. Listen, and the other crew happy to have the little one at home as well. The other little guys.
Carmine's been very, very supportive, very loving. He helps feed her. He enjoys being around her. You know, he has his moments of jealousy from time to time, but for the most part, he's been an incredibly supportive, excited older brother.
That's great. Listen, fantastic. Again, congratulations and thank you again for joining us. And actually even wanted to come on last Monday when not when she was having the baby, but listen, Frank, there's so much to go on here real quick. Remiss if I didn't start out. Lindsay Graham passes away. This is one of the few guys that I really enjoyed listening to, talking to, whatever position he was, whether he agreed with the president, didn't agree with this president. And I'm talking about previous presidents as well.
Sure.
Just seemed like a very thought out guy and spoke very well. And he had that southern way about him too, because he could disagree with you, but hit you with it, some facts and whatnot. And I think he's really going to be missed. 71, unexpected, seemed like he was in good health. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts, depending on what aspect of his life and legacy you want to focus on. Now, the latest on this, if people haven't heard, is that President Trump is urging the governor of South Carolina, Governor McMaster, to appoint Lindsey Graham's sister, who I'm not sure if it's pronounced, her first name is Darlene or Darline, but his sister Darlene, who actually has played a pivotal role throughout his biography. President Trump's urging the governor to appoint her as the interim senator, and she'll get to serve through January, as I understand it, because there was already going to be an election in November, and now I imagine there'll still be a Republican primary and a contest in November. And look, I think if the president is urging a Republican governor, especially in the aftermath of this untimely passing, to appoint his sister, he probably will. I agree with you in terms of Lindsey Graham being just a real character and a great storyteller. And based on what everybody has said, I never really knew him. I spoke to him on the phone a couple of times when I was setting up radio interviews, but I never had a conversation with him. Based on what everybody has said, a real nice guy, including the folks that disagreed with him. And I think it was very interesting, for instance, that he was able to, in the polarizing and polarized environment that we have, he was able in 2015, maybe even more recent than that, go on about what a great human being Joe Biden was. Now, you could agree with his analysis or disagree, but the fact that he is a Republican who always had a tough election, both in the primary and the general, would be willing to say that about a leading national Democratic figure who at the time I think was the sitting vice president. I think that says a lot about what separates him from a lot of folks. And the same thing, I gave him a lot of credit with how he treated judicial nominees. You know, President Trump, when he was on Meet the Press yesterday, talked about what a great moment, and I agree with the president, what a great moment it was for Lindsey Graham and for the Senate when he defended Brett Kavanaugh and sort of went toe to toe with the accusations against Brett Kavanaugh and decried the Democrats. And in doing so, he had a degree of moral authority that very few of the other senators did, because he pointed out that when President Obama had nominated both Justices Sotomayor and Kagan for the Supreme Court, that he voted for both of them. And the reason that is worth pointing out is because it used to be, and this is my preference, I think whoever the president picks for the Supreme Court, the Senate, unless they're trying to appoint their dog to the Senate or to the Supreme Court or something like that, the Senate's duty, unless they're incredibly unqualified, is to approve that person. And that was how it was largely until the Robert Bork, Clarence Thomas era. And slowly but surely, now it's become totally partisan. Lindsey Graham, even in that partisan era, hyper-partisan era, was still willing to confirm Democratic Supreme Court nominees. And I gave him credit for that. And there was nobody in 2016 on both a personal level and a political level more anti-Trump publicly than Lindsey Graham. Interestingly enough, both Lindsey Graham and J.D. Vance voted for the same guy in 2016, a guy by the name of Evan McMullin, not a Trump guy at all. Now, for him to ingratiate himself so much with President Trump that he spent about 100 hours playing golf with Trump over the course of the last few years.
Right.
And if you listen to that Meet the Press interview yesterday that Trump did with Kristen Welker, a woman that, by the way, Trump walked out of an interview, stormed out of an interview with Kristen Welker just 3 weeks ago, and now that's who he's calling to discuss Lindsey Graham. He was, maybe for the first time I've ever heard him, at least the first time since 9/11, he seemed to be getting audibly choked up and emotional over Lindsey Graham. And he referred to Lindsey Graham as almost a member of the family. And I think he was telling the truth. And the reason I mentioned that is Trump is a guy, he's not like me or you, the forgive and forget type. Trump is a guy that doesn't mind holding a grudge, okay, for a long time. And for Lindsey Graham to go from being the biggest Trump critic in the world to not only being a convenient political ally, but somebody that was viewed so personally fondly by President Trump, I think it says a lot about the kind of person he was. And so far, that's what folks are saying. Democratic and Republican folks, Democratic and Republican presidents. It's difficult to imagine somebody getting this kind of accolade from both Joe Biden and Donald Trump that Lindsey Graham is. That being said, and again, I think you have to give the guy an enormous amount of credit for not only his decades of service in the Congress, but the fact that he was a colonel in the United States military and that was willing to wear the uniform of our country at a time when most politicians, most people, quite frankly, aren't willing to do that. He chose to do so voluntarily. That being said, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention how much of his career in the Senate was defined by agitating for more American military intervention all over the globe. That was a defining part of who he was. He is being praised by it in some quarters, vilified in others. I think I have no interest in saying anything negative about him after his passing, but I think it's clear through the prism of hindsight that whether it's the war in Iraq, the intervention in Libya, his insistence on carrying on this war in Afghanistan forever, I would argue his egging on for the conflicts both in Ukraine and Iran. I think it's very difficult to see how America did well listening to Lindsey Graham in those comments. But again, I definitely am happy to celebrate his service to the country, both as a legislator and as a member of the military. And by all accounts, it seems to be a great person and a great guy.
No, I love your thought out answer there, Frankie. Again, and you followed him much more than I did, but did a fair amount. And to your point, got to see that interview yesterday, and the female media personality, her name escapes me again real quick.
Kristen Welker.
Kristen Welker. And I know they went back and forth, walks out, but she seemed even like locked into Trump as well. That there's again, I wouldn't think that it's a kumbaya between the two, but it was really a really good interview. And again, hearing him kind of choked up and saying he was part of the family was really nice to hear for whatever feud they had in 16 and then becoming friends. So very, very interesting and a good piece that I happened to step into. Listen, as we're in the political realm right now, let's jump real quick. Graham Platner, before we go to the break, your thoughts on that? Because he's not winning or winnable, or the numbers didn't look good, because they were, when I say they, the other side was like, oh, let's go, let's go, let's go. And then all of a sudden it's like, he's a bad guy.
I'm going to be as candid as I can in discussing this, and I'm sure it's going to get me in trouble in some quarters, but I've got 3 years before I've got to run for re-election. So hopefully people forget about all the controversial things I'm saying. By then, I'll have said a whole bunch of new controversial things. If you are a woman or a person who has information about somebody that has committed some sort of sexual misconduct, clearly, if you're not satisfied with how that person is being publicly treated, the best way to get that information out in the open is to have that person be in danger of losing to a Republican, because this is the Eric Swalwell situation all over again. Eric Swalwell was a leading candidate for governor of California, and it looked like, because he was peeling off a substantial portion of the Democratic vote, it looked like there was a good chance that you were going to see two Republicans advance in the final round of that California primary. Whoa, 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 we can't have that. And they make sure that every possible allegation, no matter how serious or trivial, is outed about Eric Swalwell. Now, here's the Platner situation. Now, keep in mind, this guy won a Democratic primary over a sitting governor after it was already revealed that he had a Nazi tattoo, that he basically was either cheating on his wife or scheming to cheat on his wife. How do we know that? Because the wife outed him. He was trolling these online websites that are frequented by underage girls. He had posted publicly about fantasizing about raping intruders, albeit not in a gay way. That's what he said. This was all out there when he won the primary, and yet the Democratic voters of Maine still chose him. So I have a couple of thoughts about this Platner situation. One, now whoever replaces him is going to be a stronger candidate than he is, because of the wacky ideology that he had, because of all the baggage that he had. So the Democrats are getting to benefit because they're replacing a scandal-plagued candidate that was chosen by the voters. Now, why? Why should the Democratic voters be able to be saved by the consequences of their own choices because they picked such a scandal-plagued candidate? The last time we saw anything like this, and this is in a whole different league for a whole variety of reasons, was in New Jersey in, I think it was 2002, when the Democrats removed Bob Torricelli, and they were able to replace him with Frank Lautenberg, even though the rules clearly stated that you couldn't replace him at that point. Now, the rules do allow a replacement mechanism at this point. But the other thing I have to think that is somewhat unfair is to Graham Platner. Graham Platner completely denies the allegation of sexual assault. And it's basically this woman saying this, him saying that. Now, is this guy entitled to due process, or is he not? Are we in an era where all you have to do is be accused of something, and that's enough to destroy your political career? And again, I don't want to question the courage that it takes for anybody to come forward about anything, but
Right.
I'm always a little suspect when these allegations come out right before an election. And if you look at some of the text messages that the accuser sent to her friends and other people that reached out to them about Graham Platner, it seems like she was more upset that he ghosted her. And it did not necessarily say, up until recently anyway, about these serious sexual assault allegations. Now, maybe they are all true. Maybe he did commit, sexual assault against this woman. And if that's true, the guy should have been and should be arrested, prosecuted, throw the book at him, and sue him on top of that. Got no sympathy for that. But at the same, I feel simultaneously that the Democrats are getting to benefit from choosing a candidate that's so poor, and Graham Platner is the latest victim of this trial by media culture, which doesn't require any sort of a conviction. All it requires is an accusation. And that's a dangerous place to be. And honestly, and a guy that I've never voted for anything, I don't think, and I've been very critical of, Andrew Cuomo, I think Andrew Cuomo was sort of a victim of the same thing. And I think that's been borne out in Cuomo's case. And again, I can't stress enough what a Cuomo critic I am. But in Cuomo's case, all the allegations about his sexual harassment and so forth were investigated by, I think, a dozen different DAs, and none of them found anything criminal. Now, I have a big problem with the whole situation, but I would vote for Susan Collins no matter what. But I just don't like anything about this whole process.
I hear you. Listen, Frank Morano, there you go, folks. If you don't know, now you know. We appreciate that. Great answer. Folks, we'll be right back. Got to take a break. 609-927-1100. Good stuff, Frank.
Sorry to go on so long.
No. I love it. It's good stuff. It was just
the ultimate movie experience in South Jersey is at Square Theaters.
And you know what? He needs to be smacked around
That's
a little bit.
That's the largest IMAX screen in the entire state of New Jersey at Tilton Square in Northfield. Enjoy plush seating and Dolby 7.1 sound at Harbor Square in Stone Harbor. Venter Square in Venter has amazing Dolby Atmos sound and is home of the famous Nucky's restaurant and bar. Cape Square Entertainment in Rio Grande takes things up a notch with laser projectors, 16 lanes of bowling, 3 bars, 2 restaurants, and an amazing arcade, all under one roof. And don't miss movies back on the Ocean City Boardwalk at historic Moreland Square, fully remodeled with Dolby 7.1 sound. Get movie times and tickets right on your smartphone by downloading the free Town Square Entertainment app, available now in the App Store.
Square Theaters, a better way to see a movie.
One Stop Bait and Tackle on Atlantic Avenue has been serving Atlantic City for over 30 years. Check out their huge selection of fresh bait, rods, reels, lures, nets, and speak with owner Noel about where the fish are biting. Did you know that AC holds the record for the largest striped bass caught from land? Over 78 pounds. One Stop Bait and Tackle is everything you'll need, whether you're fishing from the beach, jetty, or boat. Go to their Facebook page, One Stop Bait AC, and view their daily videos of Atlantic City's hottest fishing spots and catches of the day. One Stop has bait 24/7 through their fresh and frozen bait machine just outside their door. Visit One Stop Bait and Tackle, 416 Atlantic Avenue in Atlantic City. Open 7 days a week from 6 to 6. Call 348-9450 or on Facebook at One Stop Bait AC. Atlantic City isn't just for gambling, entertainment, and nightlife. AC offers some of the best fishing spots from land anywhere on the East Coast. You know what time it is? Time to go fishing. Visit One Stop Bait AC on Facebook.
One Stop Bait and Tackle now sells crabs.
Don't miss out on what's happening right now. Today, higher interest rates doesn't just represent a challenge, it could be a major opportunity for your portfolio. I'm Joe Yakovich, president and founder of JML Financial Group, and might be time to stop letting your money sit idle. Explore financial products that may help you benefit from rates where they are now. I always say your money has to move to make money. So it might be time to move your money from potential to performance. We're here to help you with your complimentary master plan at 856-336-6599 or at jmlfinancialgroup.com.
Securities and investment advisory services offered through Integrity Alliance LLC, member SIPC. Integrity Wealth is a marketing name for Integrity Alliance LLC. JML Financial Group Inc. is not affiliated with Integrity Wealth. For full disclosures, visit our website, jmlfinancialgroup.com.
Listen to Off the Press with Scott Cronick weekdays at 4, powered by Caesars Entertainment. Visit them at Caesars Atlantic City, Harrah's, and Tropicana Casino Hotel, and Caesars.com.
It's a girl, what a sensation. A girl, yes, such a celebration. Get ready for joy and jubilation. Grab she's grabbing her yarn. Knitting pink dresses, she's ready to charm. Grandpa wonders with a curious smile, will she love the garden, make it her style? We've got bells, dolls, and a unicorn and fun, but Mom softly says she's not just anyone.
This is the AC Mike Lopez Show, only on News Talk 1400 and 92.3 WOND.
It's a girl. It's a girl. There it is. They're for you, Frankie. Hey, listen, we only got a few minutes here. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the All-Star game or what's going on. And, you know, there's plenty of stuff we could talk about. But are you one of those guys, Frank? I mean, I know your Mets aren't doing so great, though, but I know you're a baseball fan in general. To watch the home run derby and get a little load of what's going to go down tomorrow.
Yeah, my interest in the home run derby has diminished a little bit over the years. I do like it when there's a player in the home run derby that I can really root for. I thought it was thrilling when Pete Alonso was able to win that home run derby, and then he did the classiest thing in the world and donated the money to charity. I find it fun to watch. It's the kind of thing, you know, I don't get a lot of unobstructed watch time. Most of the television that I watch, I have to negotiate with a 4.5-year-old over you know what's on the television. But I'd like to keep it on in the background. The All-Star game, that still is pretty special, I think. Not because it means anything, but not because even the game is necessarily that well played, but because it's fun to see all of these people get called out and announced and standing side by side with one another. And it's fun to see the different matchups. I know Ohtani is not able to play this year, but say a Zach Wheeler against an Ohtani, or you know, seeing these giants of baseball that you're maybe lucky to see in these head-to-head matchups once or twice a year. Seeing them in a matchup the whole game, it's kind of fun. It's kind of like when the Jetsons and the Flintstones used to do a crossover. Very rare that it would happen, but it was special when it would happen. So I think it's kind of cool, and it's a great thing for the city of Philadelphia, no doubt about it. And I'm definitely going to be watching. And the last thing I'll mention is, in this era where there are so few differences between the National League and the American League, same rules, all the teams still play each other. Yeah. Other than the World Series, this is really the only day of the year where we still know that we're in different leagues. And I think that means something. I like being a National League fan. People that are baseball fans under the age of 12 these days, they don't know what the National League versus the American League even means, except during the Olympics.
Yeah, absolutely. And listen, only you, Frank, could make that comparison with the Jetsons and the Flintstones. I love it. That's good stuff. Gave me a little flashback there. Listen, I want to thank you for joining us. Tell Rachel, the family, please, we love them. We care about them. So glad everybody's okay. The house is full a little bit more. Last word to you, my friend.
Thank you, Mike. It's always a treat talking with you. As always, sorry to go on so long and with all my rants. I would love for you to come visit and see the baby. Even more so, I would love for you to text Rachel and urge her to make our family of 4 come visit you in Atlantic City sometime soon.
I'll do both. And listen, maybe I'll bring the computer, some microphones, and we could do it remotely. Huh?
I would love it. I'll host you at City Hall in New York.
Listen, I'm going to do that. Frank Morano, we appreciate you, folks. Thank you for joining us. Get yourself outside no matter where you're at. Live, work, play AC. The only way you can do that is visit Atlantic City. Be well, Frank.
Take care, brother.